It's over. It's over, guys. We ran our Hotpot restaurant for 3 months, but even after struggling until the very last day, we still had to close. Starting this business was a beautiful dream, but reality turned out to be harsh. We had 100% confidence going in, but in the end, it led to 100% failure.
This man had to shut down his hot pot restaurant after a brief and tough period of running it. His tone reveals helplessness and disappointment as he reflects on the experience. It's over. It's really over. We've shut down. I'm drowning in debt, but I regained my confidence and took over a barbecue restaurant. The equipment was all there, so I planned to focus on getting the barbecue right before moving on to other things. After cleaning, renovating, and organizing, the restaurant looked brand new. On good days, sales were almost 10,000 a day, and even on bad days, I'd make at least 3 to 5,000. I stayed up late every night, often pulling all-nighters. Those days were hard, but watching the business grow day by day filled me with pride and satisfaction. But then, out of nowhere, a bunch of street vendors selling barbecue popped up nearby. With their cheap prices and convenience, they swept my customers away like a storm. I tried everything, promotions, improving service, but nothing worked. In the end, I had no choice but to give up and transfer the restaurant to someone else. This woman initially saw strong sales at her barbecue restaurant, but fierce competition and a drop in customers eventually forced her to give up and hand over the business. As 2024 progresses, it's becoming clear that it's only getting harder for China's restaurant industry. Many well-established restaurants and large chains are struggling to survive. Hot pot restaurants, tea cafes, and bakeries, which were once popular, have become some of the hardest-hit sectors. With fierce competition, new players in the market are becoming more cautious, and equipment suppliers are seeing a significant slowdown in their inventory turnover. At the end of last year, a second-hand equipment recycler told restaurant data website Hongcan.com that in the first half of the year, there was a surge in new restaurants opening, but by the second half, a wave of closures began. However, at the start of 2024, the restaurant market quickly cooled down. According to data from Chi-Cha-Cha, in the first half of this year, 1.31 million new restaurant-related businesses were added nationwide, compared to 1.68 million in the same period in 2023, showing a clear slowdown in growth. The once popular restaurant sectors like hot pot, tea, and bakery have all seen varying degrees of decline. Specifically, the number of registered bakery and tea-related businesses dropped by around 30% year-on-year, and the number of registered hot pot businesses decreased by more than 7,000. With fewer new entrants in the restaurant industry, second-hand equipment recyclers are finding it increasingly difficult to do business. The person in charge of Dog Brother second-hand restaurant equipment told Hongcan.com that in the first half of this year, the number of equipment they recycled tripled compared to the same period last year, but sales were down by 20%, and the turnaround time for equipment has stretched to about a week. Last year, the equipment would sell as soon as it entered the warehouse, with a turnover of only 2 or 3 days. Compared to previous years, not only is it harder to sell equipment this year, but prices have also dropped. For example, an oven that could be sold for 40,000 yuan last year now only sells for 30,000 yuan. Although the number of recycled items has doubled, sales revenue has fallen by 30%. At the same time, repeat purchases of second-hand equipment have also noticeably declined. In the past, many restaurant owners would buy second-hand equipment when opening a new restaurant and continue buying when expanding their business. Even when they failed, they would resell the equipment back to the recyclers, but now things are not as they used to be. According to data from Tianyan Cha, as of June 30th, 2024, 1.35 million new restaurant-related businesses had been registered in China, while an astonishing 1.1 million had either canceled their licenses or had them revoked. By the end of the first quarter of this year, 460,000 restaurants had lost their licenses, meaning that in just the second quarter, about 600,000 restaurants had shut down. The contrast with last year is shocking. In all of 2023, the total number of canceled or revoked restaurant businesses was 1.4 million. Yet, in just the first half of 2024, that number is already close to last year's full-year figure. Changshan local Zhang Hengming runs a second-hand equipment recycling business in his hometown. He noticed that this year's wave of restaurant closures arrived earlier than in previous years. Typically, the peak season for restaurants is from summer until the National Day holiday in October, and the wave of closures doesn't usually happen until after October. But this year is different. Since May Day, many restaurants have closed one after another. Zhang Hengming revealed that after May Day, the amount of equipment he collected each month increased by a third compared to March and April. Not only are new restaurants struggling to survive, but even long-established and large restaurants are finding it hard to stay afloat. It's been reported that among the restaurants that closed this year, a significant number had been in business for over 10 years. Additionally, the number of large restaurants closing has also risen dramatically. Dog Brother equipment recyclers said that this year, the number of large restaurants they've collected equipment from has increased by 5 to 6 times compared to last year, with most of these businesses having been operating for 5 to 10 years. Despite always being popular choices for restaurant startups, the highly franchised sectors like Hotpot, tea, and bakery are facing an especially brutal elimination round this year. According to data from Chi Cha Cha, by the end of 2023, there were 410,000 Hotpot-related restaurants in China. However, by the end of July this year, that number had dropped to 400,000, a reduction of nearly 10,000 businesses in just 6 months, highlighting the fierce competition in the market. An Da-Wei, known as the Restaurant Undertaker, recently recovered 3 franchise stores from a Chongqing hotpot chain. It was revealed that even the franchisee with the smallest loss still lost over 3 million yuan. One of the franchisees originally worked in the building materials industry, but due to a downturn in that field, switched to the restaurant business. Unfortunately, in just over a year, he lost more than 4 million yuan. This year, Zhang Hengming, the equipment dealer in Tangshan, had primarily been recovering equipment from hotpot and barbecue restaurants, many of which operated for only 6 months to a year. Considering expenses like rent, labor, and franchise fees, each of these stores likely lost at least 400 to 500,000 yuan. Since the beginning of this year, restaurant businesses have accelerated their escape from China's top-tier cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. Data from Chi Cha Cha shows that in the first 5 months of this year, 31,000 restaurant businesses in these 4 major cities were either canceled or had their licenses revoked, an increase of 3.7% year-on-year. Statistics show that in the first half of the year, Beijing's restaurant revenue dropped by 3.5% compared to the same period last year, while the accommodation and restaurant industry in Shanghai saw a decrease of 3.6%. Consumer demand is weak, and foot traffic in shopping malls has decreased. Yet some shopping centers in Guangzhou have raised rent prices, some even doubling them, forcing many restaurants to leave reluctantly. The competition in Beijing's restaurant industry is equally fierce. An Da-Wei revealed to the media that in just 1 month, he recovered equipment from 42 hotpot restaurants in Beijing, setting a new record. Compared to last year, this year's closures were mostly from franchise stores, whereas last year, most of the closures were independent, non-franchise stores. Neither newcomers nor seasoned veterans have been spared, and Da-Wei pointed out that this year, the number of long-established restaurants in Beijing, which had been in business for over 10 years, has significantly increased. Meanwhile, some newly opened stores have had to close after just 1 or 2 months of operation. One of An Da-Wei's clients had to shut down his restaurant after less than 3 days of operation. Before opening, this owner was full of ambition, planning to open the first fried food store on that street. But before his renovations were even finished, 4 other similar stores had popped up nearby. He quickly lost confidence and decided to close the shop after just 3 days of business. In this challenging environment, the second-hand restaurant equipment recycling industry has shown a relatively stronger resilience to risks. Many who are now involved in second-hand equipment recycling were once part of the restaurant industry themselves. They often comment that compared to running a restaurant, the second-hand equipment business comes with lower costs and reduced risks. Zhang Hengming shared that when he used to run a restaurant, he would stay up late every night dealing with the countless tasks of purchasing ingredients, preparing food, and serving customers. Now that he's in the second-hand equipment business, he feels much less stressed and no longer experiences the anxiety that came with running a restaurant. His day-to-day tasks now include cleaning equipment, taking videos, and communicating with customers. There's no need to worry about daily revenue or concerns over bad reviews or lack of customers. He revealed that within just 3 months of working in second-hand equipment recycling, he had already recouped his training costs and the 20,000 yuan in annual rent. The gross profit margin in this industry can reach 45 to 50%. He explained, while recycling second-hand equipment is exhausting, running a restaurant was both tiring and anxiety-inducing. Now I can roughly estimate how much profit I'll make from the equipment I collect, and that gives me peace of mind. Even so, the number of people transitioning from restaurant owners to restaurant undertakers remains small. Some restaurant entrepreneurs still choose to stick it out. An Dawei mentioned that one owner of a Chongqing Hotpot restaurant, despite losing over 3 million yuan, recently opened a new sour soup hotpot restaurant in hopes of making a comeback in the industry. Yet the harsh reality often forces people to ultimately surrender. Lu, a resident of Shandong, told Radio Free Asia that the downturn in the restaurant industry is a direct reflection of the decline in household income in China. She explained that as people struggle to find jobs and lose their income, they are cutting back on expenses. She said, "Every industry is struggling now. The outlook isn't particularly good. People are holding on to their money, only spending on what's absolutely necessary. This has changed the way people spend. They see no hope, no future, but still have to manage regular expenses. So when they spend, they compare prices and set budgets for their children's education, living expenses, and medical costs for themselves or their elderly parents." Mr. Hong, who runs a private kitchen in Wuhan, said that customers are unable to cover the high costs of rent and labor. That's one of the main reasons why restaurants are closing. He explained, the cost of rent is high, labor is expensive, and food prices keep rising, while customers are spending less. You can imagine how hard it is to keep a business going. There are still a few restaurants that are doing really well, but for large restaurants, business isn't good. Small shops that rely on low margins and high sales volume are doing okay, but many of the restaurants around me haven't even made back their renovation costs and had to shut down. Reports indicate that even well-known and long-established restaurant chains are shutting down this year. For example, after struggling for nearly 2 years, the two leading brands of modern Chinese bakeries, Tiger Attitude Chartered Pastry Bank and Dim Sum Bureau of Momo, both closed their doors in early 2024. Tiger Attitude filed for bankruptcy and liquidation, while Momo canceled its business registration. Additionally, major brands like Shabu Shabu and Nai Shui have also closed down many of their sub-brands on a large scale. Ms. Yao, a resident of Jingdezhen, Jiangxi, said that several of her friends who were running restaurants have already shut down their businesses, and even finding regular jobs now is difficult. She said, "Every industry is tough to make a living in these days. Who would still open a restaurant when people don't even have money anymore? All the small businesses have collapsed. I have a few friends who ran home-style restaurants, and now they have no choice but to find jobs to survive." This year's downturn in the restaurant industry highlights the broader economic recession in China and the weak consumer demand. Davy Huang, an American economist, once pointed out that the restaurant service industry is particularly sensitive to economic downturns. When the economy declines, the restaurant industry often suffers the most. Associate professor at Nanhua University in Taiwan, Sun Guoxiang, also believes that the restaurant sector is a critical part of consumer spending in China, but it seems that people are now tightening their belts to get by. He remarked that consumer confidence continues to collapse, reflecting the overall lack of optimism in the market. He added that the impact of the service industry could trigger a more severe wave of unemployment. This wave could affect many areas, including food delivery services, indicating that the Chinese economy hasn't been able to recover in terms of consumer spending and is instead deepening into a more serious crisis. To survive, many restaurants in China have started offering poverty meals. A barbecue restaurant owner in Jilin expressed his frustration, saying, "It gets harder every year. Everyone is offering promotions. 99 yuan meals for two are everywhere, and there are plenty of 9.9 yuan meals. It might seem like they're long lines, but it's just a false prosperity. Whether they're making money or not, only the owners know. First, we undercut our competitors, then we undercut ourselves." He continued, "In the past, even if we lost money, we could at least attract attention. Now, even that's not happening. Most of us are just burning through whatever money we have left, and many end up in debt." In recent years, many restaurants and tea brands have also introduced promotional meal deals priced far below the regular menu price. McDonald's launched a 1+1 combo where you can get a double cheeseburger and a drink or dessert for just 13.9 yuan. Burger King's 1 plus 1 plus 1 workday meal starts at 15.9 yuan, including a small beef burger, small fries, and a soda. Naixue has previously offered a 9.9 yuan breakfast combo, which includes a drink and a bread item. Tastian offers 2 spicy chicken sandwiches for 13 yuan on Member Tuesdays. Starbucks has breakfast combos priced at 15 yuan and 19 yuan, including a bread item and a milk drink. Original Chicken has launched a 2-dish and rice combo for 14.9 yuan, while Zhuewei Duck Neck has a meat and vegetable combo for just 9.9 yuan. Previously, in an attempt to attract customers, IKEA launched a Crazy Friday promotion in China, offering most of its restaurant meals at half price on Fridays between March 15th and April 30th. For example, you can get 10 meatballs for just 9 yuan 99. Due to reduced incomes, young people in China are now becoming more frugal, and the poverty meal is becoming increasingly popular. One such meal plan circulating on Chinese social media suggests having an all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast for 3 yuan, KFC's 19.9 yuan OK meal for lunch, a 9.9 yuan coffee in the afternoon, a 10 yuan noodle meal from 7-Eleven for dinner, and then heading to Free Shippo after 8:30 p.m. to snatch up discounted items. According to reports from Chinese media, more and more young consumers are finding ways to save money by exploring various value meal deals. For example, on Mondays, McDonald's offers free McNuggets. On Tuesdays, Tastian provides buy one get one free deals. On Wednesdays, Domino's Pizza has a 30% discount. On Thursdays, KFC's Crazy Thursday offers continuous discounts. On Fridays, Burger King offers half-price meals. And on weekends, consumers can choose to dine at places like Wallace. On the social media platform Xiaohongshu, many young people are keen on discussing the best ways to stock up on coupons, with over 4.5 million posts related to discount topics. On Douyin, the poverty meals topic has garnered 800 million views, with new strategies and an increasingly wide range of options constantly emerging, reflecting a clear polarization among consumers. One group of consumers is focused on getting the absolute best value, seeking the lowest prices possible. For example, the Mucun poverty meal, which costs only 12 yuan, has been checked in by over 100,000 people on Xiaohongshu. They rave about the free side dishes, unlimited refills of seaweed soup, and 3 yuan unlimited refills of rice, along with a 9 yuan children's tuna rice bowl. Another group of consumers is more concerned about the quality-to-price ratio, not necessarily seeking the lowest price, but aiming for great value. For instance, Xingrongji offers a 398 yuan weekday lunch set for one person, including 8 signature dishes like small pomfret, chestnut pork ribs, and tofu pot, which includes both meat and vegetarian dishes, as well as a main course and dessert. Additionally, some high-end Western restaurants, where the average per-person cost exceeds 500 yuan, have also been found to offer deals. From Xinhong, a Xiaohongshu analytics tool, shows that in the second half of last year, Xiaohongshu posts about poverty meals received an average of 2,366 likes per day. By early 2024, this number had risen to 5,799 likes per day. Analysts believe that the widespread popularity of poverty meals across various sectors reflects the increasing price sensitivity among young people. Analyst at the Economist Intelligence Unit, Xu Tianchen, noted that the pursuit of cheap products reflects the ongoing economic pressure faced by young people, which could have long-term consequences, including a higher risk of economic deflation, sustained high savings rates, and slower growth. He also pointed out that the high-end market could collapse as a result, forcing premium brands to redesign their products and market strategies, potentially leading them to introduce more affordable entry-level products.